A very good evening to all our viewers today. Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Anjana, your host for this evening. Today, we have with us a young doctor, Dr. Sakshi Upadhyay, who has completed her MBBS from Shimoga Institute of Medical Sciences. Currently, she is preparing for her PLAB exams, and she is also an ICMR and RGUHS scholar. She has published various papers in international journals. She has won Med Young Age Scholar Award in 2023 and 24. She secured distinction in 8 subjects in medical school, which is in nowhere a small feat. And she has won Best Paper Post presentations at various national and international conferences. Another aspect to Dr. Sakshi is that she served in many national and international medical organizations. She was also selected as one of the 100 students across various backgrounds by the National Human Rights Mission for Human Rights Advocates. Apart from her academic pursuits, she also enjoys reading, playing piano, basketball, and watching movies. So today we are going to talk to her regarding how to increase your chances on working as a junior doctor abroad, as she is also preparing for one, and will also understand the importance of research and audits when applying abroad. So, welcome, Dr. Sakshi, and thank you for being on our podcast today. I'm sure this is going to be a very informative podcast for all the young medical doctors who are listening to you. And over to you, Sakshi. So, welcome.
Thank you so much. I feel very honored to be given this opportunity, to raise awareness about how we can improve our CV and speak on topics when that's not often touched upon. So thank you so much.
Yeah, right. So let us, begin with your medical career itself that we are talking about. You've completed your MBBS from Shimoga Institute of Medical Sciences.
Yes,
So,
yes.
how did you get into this medical field, and what drew you into this medical field?
Yeah, so I pursued my MBBS from Shimoga Institute of Medical Sciences, and my journey into medicine was driven by a deep-seated passion for science. Actually, biology. I loved biology in my high school, and that is when I decided, like, I wanted to be a doctor since I was 5 years old. But then
Oh,
my
amazing.
it wasn't until yeah, so it wasn't until I was in 11th grade when I decided that I want to be a doctor. Well, I know it sounds a little cliche, but started with me having skin problems and me visiting a lot of it was hormonal, yeah. But after visiting a lot of dermatologists, I realized that we need more doctors who can help you in a way that we want to be helped. And that is what aspired to become a dermatologist, and this is why I started the journey.
Amazing, amazing. So, coming to your journey in Shimoga Institute of Medical Sciences, so how was your journey there? And you have been an academic achiever. I mean, 8 subjects, getting a distinction is no mere feat. I know that being a medical student myself. So, how did you do that? And how did you achieve that big feat? I want to know about it.
So, reflecting on my journey, it has been a roller coaster ride filled with challenges and learning experiences. And each step reinforced my commitment to the field of medicine. And so, yeah, I mean, I think taking breaks in between studies and not just studying all the time is really important if you want to score high. So I was always with the intention of not scoring and understanding the concepts.
Hmm.
Marks did not really matter to me. I mean, I know a lot of people will say, yeah, that is not true. But the thing is, nobody really cares how much you score in medical school. And if you go with the idea that you just want to learn rather than score, I think you will score better than your peers, because your
Hmm.
goal is to understand concepts, and when you understand concepts you can produce what others fail to produce on the paper, and not just on the
Amazing.
paper but also practically. So I think and also my parent support, like I think it's really important when you're on a journey, when you have no parental pressure, when you know that no matter what happens your parents have
Hmm.
your back. So I would always call them a day before the exam, telling them what if I fail, and they would be like, no matter what happens, we'll be there with you. So I think that the assurance was enough for me to, just um, overcome any hurdles that came along the way, and also made me focus better. And also, I one thing I did was, I studied with my friends. We would discuss all the high yield topics,
Hmm.
to understand the concepts better. And
Hmm.
closer to my exams, I would only focus on the high yield topics and not just the low yield topics that I know I had very less
Hmm.
chances to be tested on our
Right.
boards. So
Hmm. Amazing. So
yeah.
definitely, as you mentioned, parents play a very important role in any student's life. Now coming
Yeah.
to the professors, how were the professors in your college? I mean, how did they shape your journey in your college? If you can shed some light on that.
Yeah, so I was really lucky to have the most supporting professors. So throughout my medical school, be it first year, second year, third year, fourth year, none of the professors ever wanted any of the students to fail. So just knowing that there are professors who do not intentionally want you to fail, and who are always rooting for you, just gives you a focus. Like, you can just, because you don't have the fear factor, and you can
Right.
study. And you can just study, because it's really important, because I've seen a lot of colleges, we're under constant pressure because of the fear that is inculcated by the faculties,
Hmm.
always telling them that you're going to fail, which actually affects the academic performance. So I think that is the
Correct.
most important part that my professors played. And also, I always had their support, even during our clinical postings. They would always answer our doubts, no matter how small it was. And the
Hmm.
clinical posting, so we it was a very busy hospital, with about 1,000 to 2,000 patients every day, maybe more
Hmm.
than that. But despite being it so busy, they would, take classes every single day. Even if they do, even if they didn't come personally, they would send someone,
Hmm.
to take classes for us, because I think clinical posting is something that helped me more than my theory classes. So I
Right.
never really skipped any clinical postings, which gave me
Hmm.
better exposure to places and helped me understand better, because it's bedside
Right.
learning, which is much
Hmm.
better than what you listen in the classes.
Correct, correct. Very true. What you mentioned is very true because gaining that exposure helps you and it paves the way for your future practice as well, right?
Mhm.
So
Yes.
definitely, yes.
Yeah.
Now let's slightly move behind to your, preparation for NEET UG. I mean, I just want to know here as to, how around what rank is someone because I am very sure there are a lot of young students who are wanting to get into medical field also listening to us today. So for them, I want to ask this NEET UG exam that you give, around what rank
Mhm.
can we expect to get a seat in Shimoga Medical College?
So I think if you get an all India rank of below 10K, you would get Shimoga. I'm speaking from general category.
Right.
So all India, it should be below, I think 8K or 7K. I'm not really sure, because it was
Mm.
around 7 to 8K when I was there in 2018, back
Mm-hmm.
in 2018. Uh,
Right.
uh, uh, but I don't know about the status right now, because it keeps fluctuating. And
Correct.
speaking, if someone from Karnataka, I think they should aim for a better rank. I mean, the state rank should be below, I think, 300, in order to
Okay.
get this college, because yeah, it's one of the best colleges in Karnataka. So
Hmm.
um, yeah, this was the rank back in 2018. I'm pretty sure the rank is still the same, more or less the same even now.
Hmm.
So
So
yeah.
yeah, and being one of the best ranked colleges, how was your experience in? Matlab, you were talking already about the clinical,
Mhm.
subjects and the professors being very helpful. But I still want to know how
Mhm.
was your practicals? How was your experience with? You also mentioned about the OPD that you had, which is a very high number for any
Right.
hospital. Yeah. So how was your experience over there? I mean, how much exposure did you get during your internship and your practicals in general?
Yeah, so I think I had the best internship experience ever. So my internship started with medicine, and so we would have like so we have OPD days, as in, like, so we have like 5 different units in medicine. I'm talking about
Hmm.
medicine, no, 4 units. So like each day is allotted to one unit, which means, yeah, the day your OPD falls, it will be you will be also working in emergency medicine. So which
Hmm.
translates 72 hours of duty. and you could
Correct.
have like twice or thrice a week, depending on the week you have double duty, triple duty week.
Mm.
And in medicine OPD, we have around 6 to 700 patients alone in OPD up till 4 o'clock, 4 p.m.
Right.
After that, we have to see patients in emergency. And the best part about my college was that professors never really scolded us for making mistakes. Like I would cannulate the patients. Initially, obviously, I couldn't really cannulate, but the nurses were really nice. They would scold patients. That they are doctors and they have to learn because it's teaching hospital, right? So it's very
Mm.
important to get the exposure you wanted. So I could do whatever I wanted. I have done so many plural tapping. I think more than 10, ascited tapping more than 50 or 100. Because of the opportunities that we get from the
Mm.
professors and the postgraduates, the residents who let you do things. Even
Mm.
in OBG, I have delivered, I think, more than 100 babies. I have also done ambulance duties, delivered patients in ambulance. And it was just the exposure that I got was surreal. They would also not just they would let us even close the close the OTs, but then they would also let us operate on the small like lipoma. I have done it
Mm.
independently, like lipoma and sebaceous cysts and stuff like that. And then I have done so many sutures, like all this patient coming to emergencies, stay sutures. So this is the opportunity that I got. Be it pulmo, dermatology, like ENT. I have gotten exposure
Mm.
everywhere. So I think my experience in internship was really amazing. Even back in final year, third and final year, when we have clinical subjects, the professors would make sure that we were exposed to the OPD. They would take us to OPD, and then they would, let us see cases, and they would ask us for the diagnosis and management, and then they
Right.
would take classes after that. So
Yeah.
I think my and the reason why I have some sort of clinical knowledge is because of the clinical exposure I got during my third,
Mm.
fourth, and my internship. Yes.
Right, right. I think any medical graduate will agree to this point of yours that internship is the golden period, and definitely third and final year we do start seeing patients, but internship is what adds up to your practice. I mean, adds up to your skills, and it just takes you forward from there, right? So
Yeah.
that's really
Yeah.
amazing to know that you had such a nice exposure there in that college. So amazing. Now coming to your plaque preparations, I mean,
Mhm.
why did you choose this particular exam for yourself after MBBS? I mean, was there any thought process going behind this? If you want to share something about it.
Yeah, so back in second year, I decided that I wanted to go abroad, and I told my parents that, I want to go abroad for better exposure, for better opportunities. And at first, it was USA because, it's a pathway that is taken up by a lot of Indians. And
Hmm.
but the thing about USA is that as an IMG, you don't really have a lot of opportunities, as in like you don't have many options. You have very
Okay.
limited options, whereas in the UK, it does not really matter where you're from.
Hmm.
It totally depends on your talent. So it doesn't really matter. So they don't really differentiate between the UK graduate or IMG. So
Okay.
whatever you match into will totally depend on your CV that you've built over the years, on the application that you filled out. So I think this
Hmm.
was one of the biggest reasons why I opted UK. And
Okay.
also, the NHS culture is something that I like a lot, which is better than a lot of countries. Like it's only 9 to 5, and then
Hmm.
you pay to work extra on the weekends, and they have locum shifts where you can earn extra.
Hmm.
Now, this is something that is not really followed in the USA or India. So I think it
Okay.
was, and also I wanted to have a good work-life balance, is why I opted for the UK.
Hmm. Okay. Would you like to comment something here regarding the pay, the compensation part? Because we have heard, a lot of. I mean, this is a concept that medical graduates are paid well abroad, and
Mhm.
it is not so good in India. So, was that one of the criteria as well for choosing to start your career abroad?
Not really. I mean, money wasn't really a factor because in residency, yes, we are paid less. But then after become a consultant, when you start working, when you
Hmm.
once you gain experience, your pay keeps getting higher. And I think a lot of doctors in India, are
Hmm.
paid much higher than the doctors in the UK, because they work in the NHS, which is government run by the government. Whereas
Hmm.
in India, you have also private practices, and you can even work in government and private, which is not allowed in the UK. So
Right.
yeah, pay is not the factor, is not the reason why I wanted, is why I decided to go to the UK. It was more of a work life balance. And yes, initially you're going to work, I mean, you're going to get paid more than India.
Hmm.
Initially, when you work as a junior doctor, and then yes, it keeps getting higher and higher, but then it does not equate to the amount of the amount that Indian doctors in India get paid.
Okay, okay, that's great to know. Okay, now coming to for someone who is planning to work abroad, what do you think? What is the importance of academic achievements, and does it
Right.
better your chances of working there abroad? And how what do you feel about it?
Yeah, so academic is one of the many factors that are
Hmm.
needed. So I'm going to speak for the UK. So, when you apply for internal medicine training program, and there are different criteria, you have to fill out those criteria, and there are points for each of the headings. And academics is one of the things. So if you get distinction, you have 3 points. If not, if you have other academic achievements, you get 2 or 1 point. So I wouldn't say that academics is the most important thing. It's okay even if you haven't scored really good in medical school, because it doesn't really matter, because 1 mark in the interview process is not really going to make a difference
Hmm.
when you have other criteria. So,
Hmm.
but that also doesn't mean that you don't study in medical school, because the knowledge that you gain is definitely going to help you crack, those exams. And
Correct.
it's always better to score. I mean, to score good in medical school, because you can always say that that not only did you focus on academics, but you also were good at extracurricular too. But what I think is important is that you
Hmm.
keep maintaining an average, and you keep improving yourself over the course of medical school. You shouldn't just drop. Your grade shouldn't drop even if you score 65, 66. Make sure it's the same, that you keep
Right.
maintaining the score, improve. Just try not to go lower than that.
Okay, okay, that's right. So, speaking of this, apart from academic knowledge, what are the skills do you think are crucial for, medical graduates who are aiming to work as a junior doctor abroad? And so, what other skills do you think are important?
Yeah. So the most important thing that a lot of people neglect is your clinical skills. It's something, so because
Hmm.
since you're going to be working as a doctor, the first thing that they're going to see is how good you are clinically, and it's clinical knowledge. Not just your knowledge, but your hands-on experience. This is why I keep telling people to candidate as many patients as possible, to take part in
Hmm.
as many procedures as possible. Just don't think it's something that nurses have to do, because an emergency going to be called. Just take part, do, even if you don't know, learn. That's how you do. The most important thing is a clinical experience, the things that you've done. Be very active, grab
Hmm.
as many opportunities as you can during the internship, so that you can tell them, yes, you have done this, and it's going to give you an extra edge over everyone. And
Right.
that's the primary thing that is required. And other things that are also needed, that has a lot of importance, are your leadership experience, research. If you're going to the UK, your audit experience or your knowledge in audit, and your academics too. I mean, to some extent, your
Hmm.
extracurricular activities, your involvement in different things, and
Hmm.
your volunteering, like organizing blood camps, stuff like that, and being the
Hmm.
part of NGOs, teaching experience
Right.
too matters a lot. And yeah, your extracurricular activities, like your interests, your hobbies, they also matter to some extent.
Okay, okay, right. So not just academic pursuits, but definitely other activities that you do as a graduate student adds up to your chances of
Yeah,
working and gaining that international exposure. So my
definitely.
next question would be, where can one find and apply for these medical, internships abroad, or how can a medical student get an international exposure?
So there are a lot of organizations. You can become a part of those organizations. like IFMSA, Indian Federation of Medical Students Association, that
Hmm.
organize exchange programs across various USA hospitals.
Correct.
You can be a part of that, apply for the programs, but also there are a lot of hospitals in Australia, UK, and USA that releases applications for electives. For
Hmm.
students who want to do electives in different countries, it could be paid or free. It depends on you. For free, the competition is going to be a bit high, and even for pay a lot of people apply, so you have to keep you just have to look it up on the internet. You have to see when they're going to release the application. It's usually around October, September, October is the
Hmm.
peak time when they release. There are hospitals that release throughout the year, so you have to
Right.
keep looking it up. You have to keep seeing the website, checking out the website when they're releasing applications. And
Hmm.
it's really important to connect with doctors
Hmm.
who work abroad, because I think connection is the most important thing that is required for your clinical electives. And if but in the USA, it's relatively easier because you have so many programs, so many
Hmm.
organizations. There's so many, like USCE programs, like nuclear programs that offer clinical electives to students. They are paid opportunities, but they are definitely worth the money. So this is
Right.
something that people can look into.
Right. So, looking up to the opportunities, and also you mentioned about networking. I think that is one thing which will definitely help, because through your networks you get to know about different opportunities that are available, and that is how you can apply for them and you can gain that exposure. Amazing. So now coming to our next part in the podcast, that is about networking and CV. I mean, CV basically, a lot of medical graduates do not, unfortunately, they don't give that much importance of building on for building a CV around during the graduate years. That's what I feel. So what according to you, are the key components for a strong CV that a junior doctor needs to have in their uh, CV? So what important points?
Like you mentioned, yes, it's very true because we're so focused on academics and medical school that a lot of people who want to go abroad neglect the CV. And I think it's really important to build a CV because you're not just going to be competing with students in India, but you'll be competing with students across the world, across the globe.
Correct.
So it's really
Hmm.
important to build a solid CV, which research is something that is given a lot of importance to, be it whether you go to the UK, Australia, or US. It doesn't really matter. Having
Hmm.
research, having publication, not just research, publications, also publishing it is
Hmm.
really important, that you get involved with, get involved in a lot of projects. You can start by posting on LinkedIn. You can also, just find a mentor in your college. So I approached my community medicine professor because, he was really supportive. And I think I would suggest people to, since community medicine is one of the, um, areas where people do a lot of research in, and they're very, very supportive. So I think
Correct.
approaching your community medicine professors is really would be beneficial. But you can also approach, because it doesn't really matter what area of interest you're targeting, because no matter what area of interest, you can always talk to a community medicine professor, and you can just go about a project
Hmm.
in your area of interest. That's what I did.
Hmm.
Finding a mentor that will help you starting to do a research is really important. And
Hmm.
if you don't have the support from college, it's fine. You can get involved with people doing a lot of multiple projects. You can always ask on LinkedIn. So well, I was fortunate enough to get the support that I needed from my professor. So my first ever project was in COVID, and I approached my professor, and but obviously the thing is that you have to do. I mean, you just need someone to to begin your project. But if you expect them to complete it, to finish it, that's really not possible. You're going to be
Hmm.
doing all the work, but it's
Right.
really important to have someone to correct you when you're
Correct.
writing the manuscript.
Huh.
So that is one thing. And also there are many programs like ICMR programs and RGUHS. RGUHS is for Karnataka, that release applicants for research, so that a lot of students, usually undergraduate students, can apply for research when you're going to be paid for it. So that is really good. Getting a certificate from them is a big achievement because they select a handful of students. And getting paid for something is definitely, obviously, who wouldn't want to get paid for it? And then I did a few projects in the college, but then most of my projects were through LinkedIn. I
Hmm.
contacted people. I would message, I don't know, like about 100 people every day, and like maybe one or two people would reply back, and then
Hmm.
that's how became involved. And once you start getting involved, a lot of people also approach you.
Correct.
Because also just taking part is not important. Getting involved and doing it on time and
Right.
producing the best quality paper
Correct.
is what um, attracts more people. Then second thing you can do is audits for the UK. So audit is different from research, as in like you're going to measure the current guidelines. I mean, you're going to measure the guidelines that is happening
Hmm.
at your hospital with the pre-existing standard guidelines, and you're going to check if things are getting applied in the right way. It can be a little complex, but uh, but once you read up about this, carrying a doing an audit is much simpler than a research because you can finish it in a week or month, and even manuscript writing is not really complex, even though methodology is pretty simple. So
Right.
audit is important for the UK. Uh, um, it's really important because you're going to ask about this in an interview. And since the competition is really high in the UK right now, so doing an audit would definitely give you an extra edge. One more thing is leadership. It's really important to be part of a lot of organizations, medical organizations, national,
Hmm.
international. Apply for different positions as well. You're going to be sitting for app interviews and all, and but that's okay. If you get selected, you'll be given a position, so which will add to your leadership. You can get a point for that. And
Right.
also organize blood camps in a college and get it signed by a pathology HOD, or who is responsible for signing it, because you need a certificate at the end of the day. And also try to be a little clever. Every time you see an opportunity, that's what I did. Like where you're volunteering, where you are offer, helping your professors, and then OT, you can always take that as an opportunity to as a volunteering. So for
Hmm.
example, we have this blindness program in India, right? This cataract surgery for the elderly to prevent blindness. So
Correct.
there's this camp conducted, and my one of my professors in ophthalmology, so she is also involved in that. So so when I was in ophthalmology, I did help her out. I mean, it was something that we all had to do because we were posted in ophthalmology. But what I did was, after this, I just got a certificate from her saying that I volunteered, that I was a part of this, and I helped her. So uh, being involved in such things can also fetch you a volunteering points, and getting involved with NGOs, conducting health camps, being a part of health camps. That's something I did. A lot of organizations like AMSA, they also do it on a regular basis. So you can be a part of that. You can also be a part of IMA.
Hmm.
There are so many organizations that one can be a part of. And
Right.
also presenting your work in national, international conferences, because they have extra points just for that. In the UK, for application, there's a point only for presenting your work at national, international conferences. Even
Right.
in the US, also, if you are applying for at a good conference, they also publish your abstract. So
Right.
you also get a publication for it.
Okay.
So that is also just important. Just try to grab as many opportunities as you can. Even if you don't know, just apply for it. You can learn it later on, because you'll be surprised by how willing people are to help you out. So that
Hmm.
is really, just try to grab as many opportunities as possible, no matter how small they seem to you.
Right. So,
Yeah.
very well explained. Just to summarize what you mentioned right now. So what all can you include in your CV can be, your stint at different national and international organizations where you have volunteered or where you have taken a position and you have worked for them, or it can be your work in research, getting your articles published, and also, if you've taken part in any audits apart from the academic excellence whatever you have, so that and your extracurricular activities, as you mentioned, the volunteering part and also the posters, publications, and all this definitely adds to your CV, right? Okay,
Yeah.
then now coming to what are the common mistakes that if you may have come across, the CVs of your peers and your seniors.
Right.
So what are the common mistakes that you see in a CV when you are applying abroad, and how can you rectify that?
So I'm not really the best person to comment on this, because since I haven't really started working abroad, but I can
Hmm.
tell you from the mistake, from others' mistake that people have told me not to make on my CV, is not
Correct.
organizing them properly. So
Hmm.
it's really important that you put all your things under different headings and not just write in paragraphs. That's really important. And
Hmm.
a lot of people focus on the extracurricular activities rather than the clinical aspects, the clinical experience, which is the most important thing. So your CV should always start with your clinical experience, and
Hmm.
I mean, an experience and the things that you've done, the workshops that you've taken part in. That should be your first thing, and
Hmm.
writing it down in bullet points. It's really important, and try to summarize a CV. So one page is something that's considered perfect, but it is acceptable until 2 pages. So don't extend it more than 2 pages, and always alter your CV according to the job that you're applying for. You know, uh,
Right.
uh, it's really important that your CV is tailored according to the job that you're applying for. That's really important that people don't do it, and you have to
Hmm.
invest some. You cannot just expect to build a CV in like 1 or 2 days. You have to write everything, keep updating your CV, attach links. I mean, mention the studies that have done, you have published, or the ongoing projects. Mention if you're presenting your work at a conference, mention where it
Hmm.
was
Hmm.
conducted, just not simply saying that you have presented it. So I
Hmm.
think the way you present your CV is something is really important. And look up some templates. Like there are Harvard templates, and there's so many templates that you can find on the internet.
Hmm.
But when you're applying for, so when you apply for like organization for different position in India, I think it's really important that again you tailor your CV according to the things that
Hmm.
they require, and that's really important that you come that you put it very modestly. It shouldn't look like you're bragging,
Hmm.
but it should also be in a way that makes you very different, that makes you stand out,
Hmm.
um the application process.
Right. So I think the point you mentioned about tailoring your CV for a particular organization or for a particular role that you're applying to definitely helps you stand out,
Yeah.
and it gives an edge over others who are just blindly forwarding their CV, the same CV to everyone, right? Yeah.
Right.
So now, since we are talking about the importance of research and audits when you are applying abroad, and since you are also trying, for your chances abroad, why do you
Mhm.
think research experience is important for someone who is aspiring to work abroad?
So what happens is, like India, I mean, your specialty. I mean, the thing about India is that it's only focused on academics, how much you score on your NEET or whatever exam you're applying to. But in
Hmm.
abroad, that is not the case. They don't, because they know that everybody who's applying is it's smart, because
Hmm.
everyone who is applying is a doctor, and it's given that they're smart. So
Hmm.
they don't really see. They don't. So that is not the criteria to determine if one is, if one can become a good doctor. And
Hmm.
research builds a discipline. It builds discipline that is very, very much important. And
Correct.
your research is a reflection of how committed you are
Hmm.
to your field, because you're just trying to come up with things that can bridge the literature gap that currently
Hmm.
exists. You can come up with it also addresses the current situation, the current problems that a patient, that
Hmm.
group of population is facing, and how you're
Hmm.
trying to solve it, through your research. You're bringing light to the current situation, and it also shows that you're educated and you're disciplined enough to
Hmm.
write about it and also publish it to make a difference in the society, which is a very important step in becoming that shows that yes, you just not becoming a doctor for the sake of becoming a doctor, but it's because you actually want to help the people,
Hmm.
help people community.
Right.
So I
Right.
think that's one of the very important things. And audit is just a reflection of how the quality of healthcare that you are delivering in a
Hmm.
hospital. So,
Hmm.
just having protocols is not enough. Ensuring
Hmm.
that the protocols are being followed, that so to ensure that you are providing the best quality of care to your patients.
Right.
So it just shows you how committed you are to ensure to put your ego aside and
Hmm.
correct or rectify mistakes to deliver the quality of healthcare that every patient deserves.
Right. So that is how audits can help in bettering yourself and conducting these audits. I mean, how can it help a medical student? How can it help in their career advancement?
So yeah, so when you do an audit, you realize the reality of healthcare. You come to know what is actually being followed, because what we study and what we apply are totally different things. And
Correct.
uh, and not just and when you start doing a study on what is being applied, you realize that this should not be happening. That there should be, because it's really important to deliver the utmost quality of healthcare to the patients, because this is what is medicine about. If you're in healthcare, your main target should be about delivering the best quality, deliver the best healthcare, to your
Correct.
patient. Audit will
Hmm.
help you in that. And I think this is why, people in the UK give a lot of importance to audits more than research, because,
Hmm.
you are improving the healthcare delivery of a hospital. And
Hmm.
so, yes, audit will also enhance your knowledge of research as well,
Right.
because you come to know about different studies and what is being applied, and it will definitely advance your career, because in the NHS, like I said, it's becoming competitive. It's not as easy as it was back in the day. It has become really competitive, and you doing an audit just shows that you are committed to medicine, to deliver the healthcare that
Okay.
that you think should be delivered. And it will
Right.
also help you get more job applications, more interviews, and maybe perhaps selection too. So I think audit is very important when you're
Right.
looking.
So you are someone who is actively involved in both research and audits, and you're continuously doing that. So, what advice would you like to give to young doctors who want to get into research and audits? Briefly.
It's really so. Please don't be afraid of starting a research. It's totally fine to not know anything about it, because when I first, so I'm going to be really honest. I remember my first research was in my third year. The only regret I have is not starting sooner, because I had no one to guide me. And
Hmm.
so, when I first started, it was all because of RGUHS. They had released applications for UG research grant, and this is why I thought of applying. Um,
Hmm.
and when I started writing the abstract, to submit to them, because you have to submit an abstract, and if it gets selected, it will provide a grant. So I had no idea about research, but as I started reading papers, I gained some sort of knowledge, and then I started watching a lot of videos, started working with a lot of people. That's how
Hmm.
I improved the knowledge of research. I'm not an expert, but I keep learning every day, because research is not something small; it's a huge thing. It's
Right. Right.
it's just, yeah. So it's really important that you keep learning every single day. And most important is, if you want to do a research, you have to go out of your way to approach people to get
Hmm.
involved, because
Right.
it's really hard to get someone to support you. It's just not going to happen in a day or two.
Correct.
It
Correct.
might take months, but you have to keep applying. Coming for audit, well, it's really hard, especially in India, because nobody really wants to address the issue that's going on. So people, you might not get the support that you want. But if you want to do an audit, I think I would suggest to start with a private hospital. So when I first, yeah, my college is really supportive, but they said no to audit.
Hmm.
So what I did was I made a post on LinkedIn, even shared across WhatsApp groups, and somebody reached out from Pakistan, and that's how I
Okay.
did my first audit. So
Okay.
it doesn't really matter where you do your audit, as long as you do it. So
Right.
even if you do it nationally, it's fine, as long as you're involved in it.
Right.
So yeah, but it was really nice for me, because he helped me collect data, but everything else I did it. I developed a manuscript, a methodology, and everything, and then he gave me the data that I needed, and I made an audit. So, but it's something I want to do it in person, because I personally wanted to collect data. But I think approaching private hospitals is much better than
Hmm.
approaching government hospitals, since private hospitals have their own audit team.
Right.
So
I
yeah,
think private hospitals, as a matter of fact, are more open to bettering themselves, because definitely, I mean, it
right.
does happen in government hospitals too. I mean, no denying in that. But since they want to increase the patient confidence in them, definitely they will be more
Right.
open to improvements and things like that. Agreed.
Yeah,
So now
that
let
is
us,
that is true.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So So now let us move to your, Med Young Age Scholars Award that you won in 2023
Mhm.
and 24. Congratulations on that. A
Yeah,
great achievement.
thank
So,
you.
how did these awards, impact your career so far?
So Uh, so it's just a reflection of my commitment to the field of medicine, not
Right.
just academically, but also my research, my audit experience, my other extracurricular activities as well. So Medengage Scholarship Program is for undergraduates and postgraduates all over India, where they select a bunch of 20. I think it's category wise. So last year it was they had different categories. This year they had like year wise, where they
Hmm.
award maybe like 25 people all across the country,
Hmm.
for a particular category. So they have this application, it's a youth application where you have to fill out your research experience, your extracurricular, your
Hmm.
conferences, academics as well. So I think it did. So winning this award, I was not really expecting it because I thought that maybe there are because I was just like I honestly wasn't expecting it, but winning this was definitely surreal for me because I mean being awarded for your achievement is definitely it's I mean I don't know
It's
it's
very
wonderful.
rewarding and it's wonderful. Yeah.
It's definitely, yeah, it's because you because being acknowledged for the things that you've done definitely feels good. You feel
Hmm.
like your hard work has paid off. And
Right.
yeah, it will also help me, possibly help me in my applications as well, as it shows the commitment to the field of medicine. It's an achievement as an undergraduate. So yeah, I would definitely be given a point in the future where if I apply for interviews. So yeah, I think this is
Yeah.
how it's
So
going to help.
definitely, I think. Yeah, definitely. I
Yeah,
think this also adds to your CV and it strengthens your CV, right?
definitely.
And yeah, so can you share tips on how one can apply for different medical scholarships and awards in general? I mean, there are, I know, n number of scholarships
Mhm.
available for students.
Right.
In general, I mean, in a very brief way, if you can just explain how one can do that.
So the most important thing is to be very active, get involved with
Mm,
as many people. There's so many groups on WhatsApp, that keep posting about different awards, different opportunities. And
mm,
also the other way is to, get to just Google it, just look for opportunities for medical
mm,
students. That's what I do initially,
mm.
that's how I came across this young scholar and ICMR and other things. And that's how I
Right.
applied to
Mm,
program. So the key is to keep looking it up, not giving up. Just look it up. It is only going to take 5 minutes of your time. Just look it up on the internet. You're going to see plethora of opportunities for you that you can apply to. There's also LinkedIn. Social media is
mm,
the biggest thing that you can utilize to, become aware of these opportunities. That is not just national but also international opportunities. That's how I came across these things. And once you start becoming an active member, you're going to be added to so many groups on WhatsApp that are going to be
mm.
promoting all these events. So that definitely helped me. Personally, that did help me a lot. WhatsApp more than any other social media. LinkedIn is
Right.
another thing that actually helped me. I would say Google because that's like you can just come across many opportunities. Google is definitely my number one, followed by WhatsApp and LinkedIn.
Right. I think leveraging the social media strength for your own personal, achievements and opportunities rather, will be the best way to move forward. Right. Okay.
Yes.
Perfect. Yeah. My next question would be, what are your future aspirations and goals? I know you're preparing for your PLAB, but apart from that, what are your future aspirations?
So I want to be a dermatologist.
Okay.
So that is what I want to be, or maybe in the maybe internal medicine, a physician. I'm not really sure what I want to do in internal medicine, but as of
Right.
now, my first thing is dermatology, and either UK or India. I don't really mind either, but yeah, my main thing is to become a dermatologist and also keep researching, keep get involved in research, not just for my CV, but to
Hmm.
actually make an impact through my papers is what I want to do. So my involved in research is going to be throughout my medical journey.
That's really nice to know, because a lot of medical students are not very keen on research, and to have someone who is very interested and keen on research is really inspiring. I am sure many students who are listening to the this podcast are also getting inspired by your interest in research. So. What advice would you like to give to our aspiring junior doctors who are, planning just like for a career abroad. Since we're coming to a close of this podcast, I would like to ask you to, give advice to them.
My only advice is to, take care of yourself. It's really important that you take care of your mental health, because when you don't have that, you cannot really do anything. Don't compare yourself to your peers.
Hmm,
A lot of people are going to tell you that you shouldn't dream so big, but remember, sky is the limit. You can achieve
correct,
anything. Set your mind to, just because you don't have anyone, ahead of you, anyone who's gone through that path. It's okay. You can always, like Robert Frost once said, it's sometimes it's good to take the road less taken, because
correct.
as long as you have as long as you believe in yourself, you can do anything. Because I remember when I first started on research, only a lot of people came up to me in medical school and said, how are you going to focus on your studies? And when I started getting involved in other activities, they were like, how are you going to maintain your academics? What if you fail? But no, don't listen to those voices. Listen to people who actually believe in you, like your parents, your
Right.
your your siblings, because my brother was definitely my biggest motivator throughout medical school. My parents too, but my brother helped me a lot in many ways, for which I'm
Right.
really grateful. And I think is what kept me going. Build on your CV right from your first year. Don't wait until you're in third year or final year, because it becomes really hard to build your CV in a final year. Get involved, as much involved as you can. That's
Hmm,
really important. Go to attend conferences. Doesn't really matter, even if you're just going as a delegate. You don't really have to present anything. Just go there as a participant, learn from your peers. You're going to realize there are so many people who are so motivated and who achieved so much, and you're going to learn so much from them. It's wonderful, how talented people are, because once you uh, come out of the bubble, you just realize how big the world is and how good people are, because everyone is going to help you. I mean, that is what I have learned. Like, I've
hmm,
always gotten the help that I wanted, and it's really important that you reach out, that you seek
hmm,
help, because if you don't
hmm.
seek help, you're not going to get help. So
Correct.
that's really important. And most importantly, please focus on your clinical skills. This research, audits, extracurricular activities will not matter if you're not clinically equipped with your, like if you don't have any skills. So
Hmm,
please focus on that. And academics too, because, at the end of the day, it's the knowledge that you have is what
hmm.
going to save lives. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's an excellent piece of advice to all the youngsters that you can give today. Thank you so much, Dr. Sakshi. I'm very sure, just not just about your academics, but the thing that you mentioned in the beginning, taking care of yourself. I think that's also very important, because medical profession is one which is not just physically demanding, but also emotionally and mentally very demanding, right? So taking care of
Right.
yourself is also very important in this profession. So
Mhm.
amazing, amazing podcast with you today, and I'm sure there are a lot of youngsters who are listening to you have also found this to be very insightful. So thank you for being with us today here, Dr. Sakshi Upadhyay, and it was amazing talking to you. Thanks again, and have a good day.
Thank you so much for giving this opportunity. I had a lovely
Yeah,
time.
yeah. You too then.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Bye.
Bye.